Radio Kim, Inspirasi Infora Islami. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to the dear listeners of IKIM FM. Welcome to this special interview. I'm your host, Batrisha Afrina, and for today, in this special interview, we are going to talk about the echoes of the Arab Spring and ENNAHDA'S uncharted path in changing Tunisia. And for today, I have two prominent figures. The first is Moaz Ghannouchi. He is the Chief of Staff of ENNAHDA Party, Tunisia, and also the son of Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi. And also I have Dr. Ahmed Gaaloul. He is the ex-MP, the former Minister for Sports and Youth Tunisia, and also one of the leader of ENNAHDA Party. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Moaz and Dr. Ahmed.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
And how are you?
Alhamdulillah, very good. Very happy to be here with you. I'd like to send salam to all your listeners who are with you, and wish you all the best.
How about you, Dr. Ahmed?
Alhamdulillah, bismillah ar-Rahman, assalamu alaikum. So thank you for having us.
It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio.
We are happy being here in Malaysia. So thank you, and I hope that we'll add something for your Malaysian listeners.
Yes, inshallah. And for today, it is such a great opportunity, such an honor to have both of you in the studio. So before we go into the interview itself, may I know how long have you been in Malaysia?
So we've arrived here Sunday, and we've had, so this is now 3 days.
3 days, so today in Malaysia.
And we've had a very busy program of meetings. With different organizations, personalities. We had meetings in Parliament. And we're here to tell the people that we met here, the organizations, we met ministers, we met MPs, about what's happening in Tunisia, about the arrest of my father, Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi, the Speaker of Tunisian Parliament, and the head of ENNAHDA Party. He's been in prison for 220 days. He's 82 years old, and he goes back a long way in his relationship with Malaysia. I think first time he visited Malaysia was in 1973.
1973.
And he knows a lot of the personalities here, the organizations. He's been following what's been happening in Malaysia. Malaysia has been a country that many Muslims around the world actually follow. It's been an example at different levels, whether at the economic level in terms of development that Malaysia has achieved, and also in terms of the politics, being a Muslim democracy. I know that democracy is not something that is taken for granted in many Muslim countries. So the fact that Malaysia is able to be democratic, is able to be, even though it's diverse, it's able to maintain its unity. The diverse communities within Malaysia are able to not only to accept each other, but to work together to create a vibrant, rich country. So that's why my father, Sheikh Rashid, has always been an admirer of Malaysia. He's visited Malaysia many times. The most recent one was in 2018. Unfortunately, because of the recent developments in Tunisia, there's been a coup in July 2021 as part of the counter-revolution that took place in the Arab world since the Arab Spring. From Egypt, and then it got all the way to Tunisia in 2021. And because of this, my father, who's been a very well-known advocate of democracy, compatibility between Islam and democracy, freedom, and he's been both writing about this at the intellectual level, but he's also been active. So implementing what he believes in, implementing what he promotes. So he's been leading from the front in promoting and struggling for freedom in the Arab world. So he was arrested last April, 17th of April. It was in Ramadan, 27th of Ramadan. He was arrested unjustly, and he's been in prison since then without trial. So we wanted to come to Malaysia to update many of the people here about the situation there, the Malaysian Foreign Ministry back in April, when my father Rashid Ghannouchi, when he was arrested, they issued a statement condemning his arrest and calling for his release. We met during this visit with the Prime Minister, Dr. Anwar Ibrahim. I'd like to salute him for giving us the time to meet him, and we updated him on situation of my father, because he's a personal friend to him. We also met with the Speaker of Parliament. We met with the Foreign Minister, Mr. Zimri. We met with the heads of and members of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee in Parliament, and they have kindly issued a statement yesterday, again expressing solidarity with Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi in his plight, calling for his release and calling for the return of democracy in Tunisia. And that's something that I commend, and I thank them, because as Muslim Democrats all around the world, we need to stand together and we need to support each other. So that's something that we're happy with, and so this is why we're visiting Malaysia.
And going to the question itself, so the first I will ask Mr. Moaz first. So Tunisia, post-Arab Spring in 2011, witnessed the rise of the ENNAHDA party. So could you elaborate on the background of this rise?
Maybe Dr. Ahmed would be better suited to maybe speak about this. If you want, Dr. Ahmed.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Well, Nahda did not rise by the occasion of the Arab Spring. We were there for many decades before that. And the Arab Spring was an opportunity for the Tunisian people to express their views freely. And because Nahda was and still is the backbone defending freedom and democracy, justice in Tunisia, so the Tunisian people, when they've had the opportunity to express their will, they've chosen Nahda party after the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring is the achievement of the Tunisian people. It's not an achievement of one party by itself. It is all the society. And it is an expression of the failure of the regime, dictator regime and dictatorship. So Tunisia was and is the cradle of the Arab Spring. It started there. And we were able to resist and to survive the counter-revolution wave for 10 years. And that is also one specificity of the Tunisian revolution. Revolutions happened or happen in the world for a number of reasons. But these reasons cannot be explained. You cannot really fabricate a revolution, and you cannot really predict a revolution when it happened. Sheikh Rashid, since 2007, 2006, he started in his articles speaking about a coming uprisal in the Muslim world, in Tunisia, in Egypt, and he was expecting something like that to happen, and it did happen. And that expectation was a driving force for us Nahda before the revolution to keep fighting for the right of everybody in freedom of speech, in democracy, and in justice.
And talking about Ennahda fighting for the justice, what distinguishes Ennahda from another party, and how does this allows it to navigate the post-revolution political landscape successfully in Tunisia?
There is something which is specific about Islam in itself, first of all, because if one studies revolutions, one of the definitions of revolution is that it is a type of violence. So revolutions, when they happen in Latin America or in Eastern Europe or in Africa, a revolution is always in history an expression of violence. However, one of the specificities of the Arab Spring, which relates it to Islam, that these revolutions were peaceful revolutions. And what gave another specificity to distinguish it, to distinguish what happened in Tunisia, is what Sheikh Rashid was calling for, that this peaceful revolution should get us in a process of peaceful change and reforms. And these reforms, they must be inclusive. They must not exclude anyone. And that hatred, which was the basis of governing the country, must be stopped. Exclusion must be stopped. So Sheikh Rashid was saying that whoever enters through the door of the constitution, which is the constitution of the revolution, is the son of the revolution. In the same way, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man dakhala bayta Abi Sufyan," when he got into Mecca, whoever who gets into the house of Abu Sufyan, fahuwa amin. So the main message which has enabled us to survive these 10 years is this, that reforms must be inclusive, and they must not exclude anyone. There must not be a revenge against anyone, and that the revolution is an opportunity for anyone to benefit from it. So this is, in my view, now my understanding, what distinguishes what happened in Tunisia and what enabled Tunisia to be successful in surviving a counter-revolution for 10 years. Because normally history tells us almost all revolutions, they tend, after the first phase, you have a change of regime, they tend to become radicalized. And the second phase of the revolution is always a bloodshed phase. It is radical. You either have the old regime coming in different phases, or those who are revolutionaries become dictators. And this is what Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi has stopped from happening in Tunisia. That is why Tunisians, even now, after the coup of Qais Said, do benefit and enjoy peaceful life. And we did not fall into what sadly many other countries in the Arab world, like Iraq or Libya or Egypt itself, or Yemen or Syria, we did not fall into a civil war, and we did not fall into any type of war. And this is very important, and this is the core value of Islam, that we need to preserve life, we need to preserve law and order, and that Islam is inclusive of everyone.
And touching on what Dr. Ahmed talked just now, ENNAHDA'S resilience has been remarkable, especially compared to other Islamic movements like the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. Do you attribute the party's success to its commitment to working within the democratic system, and also like respecting the rule of law and fostering pluralism and tolerance through power-sharing agreements with other political entities in Tunisia? So what's your opinion about it?
Yes, indeed. I mean, across the Arab Spring, there's been many experiences, but we've all faced similar challenges. And we've all faced also the counter-revolution, which has internal factors and external factors. But what we've experienced in Tunisia is an approach by Nahda Party to make sure that we send a message that the country is for everyone. That this new Tunisia that we want is not for the Islamist parties or the secular parties. It's for everyone. And that's why ENNAHDA, when it won the elections in 2011, it even though it won a good majority, the leadership still insisted that we bring everyone on board, that we go for a coalition government that brings not just people from the same color, so just Islamist, like different Islamist parties together. No, actually, we wanted to bring together people from the Islamic side, people from the secular side, people from the left, and that was like a kind of a rainbow coalition, a coalition between parties from different, and that sent a message that this country is for everyone, and that we want to create a new Tunisia for everyone. Because if people feel that they're left out, then their reaction will be very negative, and this will then create conflict, and that's what we try to avoid through the politics of consensus. And that's, for example, after the revolution, we elected a parliament that worked on a new constitution, and we made sure that this new constitution represents all of Tunisians. So all the things that we agree on, let's put them in this document that will then regulate how we live together in this space that we call Tunisia. And anything that we don't agree on, let's put it aside. And through long dialogues, we had 2 years to discuss that constitution. We managed to produce a constitution that was voted on by nearly 97% of parliament, which shows like the ijma', like total support for this constitution. And I think that's one of the things that our countries need, this consensus approach. This try to avoid this approach of zero-sum game. My gain is your loss, and your gain is my loss. No, we need everyone to be winners, because trying to exclude this group or that group, this community with that community, will only lead at the end of the day to conflict. And that's why we see many countries, unfortunately, across the Muslim world, where conflict is rife. Why? Because of this approach of trying to either monopolize power or try to exclude that group, that community or this community. And this is dangerous. And Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi, the leader of ENNAHDA party, always insisted that we need to make sure that we send the right messages, and that we maintain the unity of our country, that even though we may be different as different parties or different groups, but we should look at what is common between us. We should look at the common good that we need. We need to agree on a way forward that brings everyone together towards the future. We don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to carry everyone together to create a better future. And that's why I think one of the things that we're proud of as Tunisians, as Nahda, and that's something that we hope that will help us to bring back democracy in the country, because people can now kind of make a comparison between what they see now after the coup that happened 2 years ago with Qais Said. We see exclusion of everyone. We see the collapse of the economy. We see political tensions. We see social tensions. And this creates an environment that is not conducive to stability, that is not conducive to peace. And as a result, that's not conducive to a growing economy, because companies to invest, people to invest, they need stability, and this stability needs to be built on solid foundations. And these foundations are the cohesion within society, the peace within society, the avoidance of these conflicts and these exclusions. And my father was arrested because he spoke about this. He said that the policies of the President Qais Said, are leading the country towards conflict, trying to exclude. He exactly said verbatim that excluding this trend or excluding that trend will only lead to civil war. You cannot create a Tunisia just for one group of Tunisians. You need to create a Tunisia or a country that is for all of its citizens. And that's something that, as I said, Tunisians now, they see the difference. But what we as a Nahda have presented to the people, and what with this dictator who's currently now running the country is presenting, we were presenting a Tunisia that is for everyone, an inclusive Tunisia, And now this dictator Qais Said, now he wants to a Tunisia that is just for himself and his followers only, and that is something that cannot be accepted. And we hope that through peaceful opposition to him, through peacefully working for the return of democracy, with other tendencies from across the spectrum, we will be able to bring back democracy, inshallah, for Tunisia.
Inshallah. And for the next question, still for Mr. Moaz, because this one is quite personal, with the rise of Qais Said and also the arrest of your father, Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi. What's your view on these developments, your personal view on that?
I mean, obviously, personally, it's something that is, a sad development at a personal level. Obviously, seeing your father, who you've admired for all your life, be arrested at his age, at the age of 82. But at the same time, this is, my father. I don't see him as a victim. I see him as someone who is prepared to sacrifice for his values. He knows the way. He started on this path a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the first time that he's arrested. He was arrested first time in 1981, and then released in 84, arrested again 1987, and was even sentenced to death, and then released 2 years later. And then he lived in exile since 1991. So obviously we've gone as his family, we've gone along with him on this path, and we fully believe in what he stands for. He believes in these values, the values of freedom, that the basis of everything, the basis of giving value to life itself is freedom. If you're not free, then you are not fully human. So I think Allah has created us free. And we cannot accept any tyrant who tries to take this freedom away from us. So yes, personally, obviously, I'm sad for his arrest and for the turn of things, but at the same time, I know that this is part of that. What we believe in deserves sacrifice. We believe in freedom. If you want freedom, you need to sacrifice for it. And unfortunately, if there's this sacrifice for to be arrested, then something that comes along the way. But we are still continuing the struggle. My father, from his prison, is continuing his struggle. Ennahda party is continuing its struggle peacefully. I mean, this is something also that we have to emphasize, that we may oppose something and don't like it, but the way to react to it is not through violence, it's through peaceful means. And that's what Ennahda has been doing. Maybe Brother Ahmed can expand more on what Ennahda has done to oppose the current policies of President Qais Said. So we believe that the future is for freedom. There is no future for dictatorship. I hope, inshallah, my father, Sheikh Rashid, and many of the other political detainees, inshallah, will regain their freedom soon, inshallah, and that freedom will prevail. And as we've seen in many other examples, we've seen in South Africa how Nelson Mandela, he spent 27 years in prison, but at the end of the day, apartheid collapsed.
Yes.
And the South Africans regained their freedom. The same thing that we're seeing also now in Palestine, the struggle of our Palestinian brothers and sisters in Gaza. Our hearts are with them and our dua is with them. The world is seeing every day the massacres that are happening, but at the same time, people see the resilience that our brothers and sisters in Palestine have. And this resilience is because they believe that there is no life worth living without being free.
Yes.
So they're prepared to sacrifice. They know what they're doing. They know exactly that to fight for your freedom there will be sacrifices, but people are still prepared to make those sacrifices. And at the end, like many of the other countries that were colonized or occupied, through the struggle for freedom, all these countries won they regained their freedom and their independence. And we hope, inshallah, that Palestine also, inshallah, go in the same path. So it's the same struggle, whether it's in Palestine for their freedom, in Tunisia for our freedom, in many other countries. But we believe, inshallah, that we will prevail at the end, inshallah.
Inshallah. And for the next question would be for Dr. Ahmed. With these recent events, some may draw parallels to counter-revolutionary trends seen in other parts of the Arab world. In your personal opinion, do you see that this as the end of the Arab Spring in Tunisia?
Naming it as an Arab Spring, we can name it as an Arab Spring or the winter of the old system. Every revolution has a counter-revolution. So a revolution, it is a process. And this process, once it starts, it doesn't change. A revolution happens because the old system cannot survive anymore. It becomes corrupt. It doesn't have the means for life. So it falls, and then it tries to regain power again, but again it falls. So the coup which has happened in Tunisia and the counter-revolution which has happened in Egypt and Morocco, Yemen, and blocking the process of revolution in Syria, because the Syrian people has also revolted, but they were not allowed to express their will. They've been killed. This process, once it happens, it doesn't start. When the French Revolution started in Europe, the monarchy came back many times, but Europe did not become stable until democracy became the system of states in all European countries. So this change which has happened in Tunisia, it is the start of a process which will not stop until the Arab countries and Muslim countries will have a level of freedom and democratic system. And the other part of this change is that Islam will have a say in participating in the public sphere. And this brings us to the current events in Gaza, because the Zionist state portrays itself as the heaven within a desert of dictators. So that is why when revolution happened in Tunisia, this body, this virus which is within the body of our ummah, feared for itself, and it made alliances with a number of regimes so that they regain power. And what is called tatbiya, naturalization, with the Zionist state, this racist state, was to be implemented all over the Arab and Muslim world, so that you cannot survive, we Muslims, but by following the will of this state. And this will lead to the fall of all democratic system, not only in the Arab world, but even in Turkey, in Malaysia, and so on. So this process, what happened in Gaza, has stopped that process. And we think that what happened in Gaza will revert the process of the counter-revolution. It is like a shake which has happened in the region, which will send its waves through the will of the Muslim and Arab people, so that they believe again that they can regain their freedom, they can defend it, and they can still have the right to dream for a better future. So what happened in Tunisia is not the end. It is, like Sheikh Rashid has always told us after the coup, he says, this is a process, and in this process you might have a fall, but then you will regain again. So that is why what we are doing in Tunisia, we do not consider that this fight is just our fight. This is a fight of all the Tunisian people, of all the Tunisian elite. Sheikh Rashid was almost alone confronting a tank and a soldier telling him that you do not have the right to get into the parliament which he leads, because he was the chair of the parliament. Right now it is the opposite. Everybody is with Sheikh Rashid. Everybody is with Ennahda, from the far left to the liberals at the right. We are all gathered opposing this dictator, and this dictator is opposing everyone, not only the political elite, but even the institution of the state. So he's excluding himself from everyone, and our policy is to oppose him peacefully, so that we do not throw wood into his fire. We believe, and Sheikh Rashid believes, that he will consume its fire fast, because if we try to oppose him, let's say radically, we are giving him extra life and longer time for him to stay in his dictatorship. The best way is to fight him peacefully, to express our views, to be patient, and to defend the right values. A change has happened, it has started, it will not stop. This is a historical process which will not stop, and this historical process is not only related to Tunisia, it is related to the whole region. And we Muslims, by this, we are telling the world and humanity that we Muslims, we can participate in solving the issues and the problems which humanity right now is going through in regard to the values of democracy, to the double standards in the world. And we are telling them that we Muslims, we can provide you with a better answer. That is why our case is not just a case for Muslims, it's not just a case for Arabs, it is a case for humanity. And this is what makes us Muslim, and this is what makes Islam humane and rahmatan lil alameen. It is a mercy for everyone. So Allah said, Wallahu ghalibun ala amrihi. Allah will definitely be victorious, and Allah has promised us that as long as we are fighting for our freedom, he will help us. So we do not fear, and we believe that it is time historically for these changes, and this is a phase. It has a life cycle. We just must not give it throw wood in its fire, so it will consume itself.
And going to the last question, I would like to ask both of you, starting with Mr. Moaz. Looking towards in the future, considering that the challenges that Tunisia currently facing, what are your aspirations for the Tunisian democracy, and how do you envision Ennahda's role in shaping the political landscape moving forward?
The question of the future is very important, because obviously as human beings you always think about what's coming next. And everyone, I think we all want the same thing for our countries. We want prosperity, we want to be free, we want to live under a country that is governed by the rule of law, we want justice, and we don't want oppression. And that's something that we can all agree on. And that's why as Brother Ahmed said, we're trying to work with other Tunisians from across the political spectrum, from all political tendencies, to get together and to agree on the way forward, to agree on what type of Tunisia do we want for everyone. And that's why we set up an opposition front called the National Salvation Front. And this front brings together 5 political parties and 5 civil society groups from across the political spectrum, from us as Muslim Democrats to others who are liberals, to others who are on the left, to others who are more conservative than us, together to work on bringing democracy back, because democracy gives us the tools for solving the problems that the country is facing. You know, all countries face problems. So how do we solve these problems? Is it just one man saying, okay, this is my view and I want to impose my view on you, and that's it, I know best? And this is what President Qais Said is doing. But we know that one person cannot know best. No one is perfect after the Prophet ﷺ. No one can say that I have the truth and I claim the truth and no one else has the truth. So since we don't have prophets anymore, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the last prophet, then how do we solve our issues? It's through shura, through consulting, through sitting together and through discussing the problems that we have and discussing the ways forward. And that's why the National Salvation Front is calling for national dialogue, that the problems of the country can only be solved through a national dialogue that is inclusive of everyone who wants to take part. Obviously, those who don't want to take part, then obviously you can't force them to take part. But we need to involve as many people as possible from all the different parties, groupings, tendencies, backgrounds, ideologies. And through this national dialogue, we can agree a solution forward. And we've done this before. This is not the first time. The country, back in 2013-14, faced a big political crisis. There were some political assassinations, and then the country was in a crisis. How did we solve this? We got together and we discussed the problems and we agreed the way forward. And because of that, Tunisia received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. I don't know if people, our brothers and sisters in Malaysia, are aware of this, but Tunisia in 2014 or 15 was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because we managed to solve our problems peacefully through dialogue. And that's why, that's what we want to do again. We want to solve our problems through dialogue. If President Qais Said wants to take part in the dialogue, okay, yes, that's good. We want to involve him also. But if he doesn't want dialogue, then we cannot just entrust all the country in just one person. We don't have someone who is a prophet, as I said, who's sent by Allah to take us from ignorance into the truth and into belief. So that's what Ennahda is working on bringing Tunisians together, forming, strengthening this National Salvation Front, adopting dialogue to agree the way forward. We have, inshallah, presidential elections nearly in 11 months in October. We hope that the opposition and this front agree on one candidate to oppose the current president, and we hope that the Tunisian people will be with us.
Inshallah. And how about you? Your perspective, Dr. Ahmed?
Yeah, thank you very much. It is a very important question, but the first idea which comes to my mind is that, in regard to the future, that yes, democracy, it has its failures. So democracy is not a complete system, but it is a system which allows people to express their views and will freely. So we need to stick to it. And right now, with what is happening in Gaza, and with the failure of number of democratic countries, especially in the West, in standing by their values, they are failing themselves. Should we say, no, democracy is not good anymore? Okay, we've tried democracy in our countries, and we tried democratic Islam in our countries, but this example has failed, and a populist person, a dictator, came in and took power, so it is a failure. And from the other side, Look at what is happening in Gaza. Look to our brothers and sisters who are being killed. And those countries who are preaching us for democracy, human rights, justice, and so on, they are basically standing by the killer, by the criminal. And they are not ashamed of what they are doing. So we Muslims, we must look away from all this system, which is a corrupt system, which doesn't work. I say no, this is wrong. First of all, we believe in democracy before we got into power, first of all, when we were struggling to gain our freedom to express our way. And we believe in these values because we think that these values and this system is a good system for us. It's not because others believe in it. No, we al-Muslimu huwa ahaq. And whenever we see the truth, the good, you are worthier to follow it. Whether it is from someone who is a Buddhi or a Majusi or Christian, if he's doing something right, we'll do it, but try to do it better. So us Muslims, we need to provide a solution for humanity, a better democracy. This is one thing. The second thing is that we are human and we make mistakes. So for the future, first of all, we need to tell our people who have entrusted us and voted for us, to tell them that yes, we made mistakes, we learn from our mistakes, and we listen to you, and we will reform, and we will develop, and we will do better. And secondly, while struggling to regain our freedom of will for our people, we are not going to lead our country into any trouble or any conflict which might lead to bloodshed or conflict between the people. We must stick to our value, especially right now in a time of crisis. So we must stick to the concept of tawafuq or consensus. We must stick to the concept of inclusiveness. We must stick to the concept of diversity. And we must stick to the concept that Islam is a better way of life for everyone, not only for us as Muslims, but for everyone.
In general.
And that is why the future must lead towards that. And this is a time, especially during the time of crisis, that we need to stick to those values which will enable us to move forward. And the third thing, that we need to show truly that we listen to people. Listening to people is not part of the electoral campaign. No. Even outside the time of election, when people believe that somebody else has power and they might follow it, we must tell them that we listen to you and we are ready to defend you. We are not defending ourselves. No, we are defending people, the interest of the common good of all people. Because if we wanted to defend ourselves, then we will stay silent and we'll try to get maybe wealth or health or family, and then we might live in peaceful life. So why should we struggle? This struggle is because we Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order us for Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy al Munkar, and order us to defend people, especially those who are oppressed. This is our duty as Muslims. But we must do that by preserving the values of Islam, that is preserving life, preserving stability, and preserving the will of people, their mind, their wealth, their families. And this is all what is about what's about Islam. And I think this is a time to show it and to prove it.
And with that being said, I would like to thank both Mr. Moaz and also Dr. Ahmad for their insights on today's topic, Echoes of the Arab Spring, ENNAHDA'S Uncharted Path in a Changing Tunisia. And we hope that today's interview will be beneficial and also inspiring for those who are listening to us either through radio or even through our social media. And again, Mr. Moaz and Dr. Ahmad, thank you for being with us in the studio. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And dear listeners, if you miss any part of the show, you can watch it again through our Facebook page, Ikim FM, and also through our YouTube, Ikim Media. So we'll be back next week with more interesting topics. So don't change the radio station. Stay tuned to Ikim FM, Inspirasi Infura Islami.